Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Living Astrology with Janet Hickox. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back, and let's chat about what is happening up in the stars above today, September 15th, 2020. Well, hopefully everybody is staying safe. Part of the country is under the threat of water. The other half is burning up. Part of us are just choking in the smoke. It is just an amazing thing to witness as our world continues to go through chaos and turbulence. And this week in human design, we also add impact to the whole of the energy sphere. So I want to break that down for you all today. The Human Design Week moving from the gates 47 and 22, where we had the ajna and the emotional center, to two gates that sit on the emotional center. So we're looking at a week filled with emotional energy and impactful emotional energy, not just, hey, hi, I'm emotion. Nope, it's pretty deep, it's pretty powerful, and we're going to talk about that as well today. The moon in Leo is going to give way to the sign of Virgo, changing up our energy again for the next couple of days. I, for one, enjoy it when the moon gets into Virgo. I know Mimi out there, she and I both have the moon in Virgo. Any of you who have the moon in Virgo, that means you're coming to a personal moon, and that means your energy bumps up and that kind of thing. So it's always good for me. As well, today we're going to talk a little bit about Venus squaring Uranus. That is our major aspect of the day, besides the ones the moon is making. And then, of course, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the gate 36, where the Earth is, and the gate 6, where the sun is in your human design. And in fact, why don't we start there? First of all, let me go say hello. Good morning to everybody out there. Hello, Ursula. By the way, happy birthday to you yesterday. I didn't realize it was your birthday until later on in the day. So wishing you many solar returns, blessings for your coming year, and all good things coming your way. Good morning, Asa. Great to see you. Pauline, hello. And Andy Girl, Amy Energy, Jennifer Peachy. Good morning. Good morning. I think for the time being, let's talk about the moon, just because then I can get that done and I don't forget about it like I almost did the other day. The moon is in Leo, and we move into the void, in about 6 minutes at 8:09 a.m. Pacific time, 11:09 for those of you on the East Coast. It will last for a couple hours and a half. 11:37 it will be done, and the moon will then have moved into the sign of Virgo, a sign of work and getting down to it, right? Getting her done. And the only aspect for the day is a trine to Mars, and that means the void is, we're left with that particular aspect for the void. The moon in a trine with Mars is an action and emotional energy, kind of on board with one another and taking us through what it is that we need to do to finish up our transit of the moon in Leo. So maybe there's some creative inspiration going on. Maybe there is some more heart-centered feelings that you are dealing with at the moment. And all of that will shift later on here in the morning. Or I guess it would be early afternoon for those of you on the East Coast. So let's talk a bit about what the moon in Virgo brings to us. Of course, I said it changes up the energy a bit, and it changes it from the more fun and play and celebratory energy of Leo, although that is not how I've experienced Leo for the last couple of days, and into the more work-oriented, physically health-oriented sign of Virgo. So with Virgo, we have the physical health, of course, the body itself, the health of the body. So Aries rules the actual body, right? The physical being. But the sign of Virgo rules the health of that body. In your astrology chart, the 6th house is the realm of Virgo in the natural wheel. But you would only experience it that way if, for example, you had an Aries rising, because then all of the signs are going to line up in their natural houses. For most of us, though, we have some different sign on the rise, which means that the 6th house is probably not Virgo, but you do have Virgo somewhere. And in whatever house it is that Virgo shows up is where you're concerned with health, diet, exercise, healing, and how the physical body and its health, its relative health, supports you in doing what it is that you need to do for your life. It is also the sign that rules our work or the job that we do. So, for example, the 10th house rules the career or the profession, sort of the bigger, wider way in which you show up in the world. But this house or this sign rules the work that you do, the actual, I'm sitting at my desk doing this broadcast kind of thing. It also rules the tasks and the errands and the routines that you get into on a daily basis, as well as the coworkers or your colleagues that you are working with, i.e., even the environment around which you find yourself working. Organizing, of course, we all know Virgo is the sign of organization, seeing to the details, planning, ordering, as in making everything neat and in order, tidiness, environment thinking, environment in that, like the environment of the mind, the environment that you're working in, and the relative ease through which you can work in the environment that you're in. Is it organized? Is it clean? Do you have everything you need? Pens, pencils, paper, whatever it is that you need, right? A telephone, your computer, all of those things that you might need in order to work and do your job. As well, Virgo energy is about discrimination and discernment, being able to just go right to the heart of something, to see through all of the fluff around something, to get right to the central theme or what it is that's most important in whatever it is that you're working with. And being able to analyze and critically think and to pick apart and to put back together. And those are the energies of Virgo. Focus. Mercury, remember, is the planet that rules Virgo. So we have Mercury right now in the sign of Libra. So we have a sign that is their neighbor signs, Virgo and Libra, where Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, is carrying on tact and diplomacy, cooperation, coordination, no, collaboration, cooperation, co-creation. I guess the other one works too, coordination. And then as well, we have this now very detail-oriented focus ability. Service, right? The one word that I sometimes like cringe at. I bet all of you do too, because it feels like I'm having to do something because I don't necessarily want to, but because I have to. But service is really about sharing your gifts and your talents with the world, and whether or not how you're doing that, how you're showing up in the world, doing your sharing of your gifts and your talents, serving in the capacity of someone who's sharing of their gifts and talents is Virgo's realm. The relative conscientiousness through which that you do your work on a daily basis. Do you just wham, bam, slam it, ma'am? Or do you actually take the time and really engage in the material or really stay present in the moment to the work that you are doing, no matter what it is? And then purity of intent. Now that one came to me this morning. I was thinking about how in Virgo, we have such an opportunity to organize our thoughts and so forth, to get all of our ducks in a row, if you will, that, it stands to reason then any of our intentions also have to sort of have an organization around it, have to have a purity in how it is that we are saying what we're saying or what it is that we're trying to create. So purity of intent and how you want to show up in the world. This is a sign that also rules synthesis. How do we bring all the parts together in a way that is perfecting, in a way that is processing, bringing order, as it were, out of chaos, and seeing how all the pieces fit together. And maybe that piece works better over here, and that piece works better over here, and voila, we have a new idea of perfection. And of course, perfection is always changing, right? The idea of perfection as being one thing is not right at all, because perfection is whatever it is in the moment, and the moment is changing moment by moment, right? Now, of course, in any sign, we also have the more negative side, or the less desirable traits, I guess you could say, along that continuum or the spectrum of ways that we could show up with that energy. And in Virgo, we have excessive perfectionism, and we also have worry or plain out criticism that's not necessarily constructive, blame and judgment, right? This is a sign opposite of Pisces, the victim. So Virgo can be a martyr and or play in the victim role. And of course, there's also workaholic tendencies, getting too much into the work, not breathing, not coming out and, balancing that with some more playful energies. So watch for those. In the body, Virgo rules digestion and assimilation and the solar plexus. So note how your body reacts if you have an emotional reaction to something, when something is upsetting or something is, causes you to, stand back for a moment. Where do you feel that in your body? Often we say we feel it right in the gut. We got a sucker punch to the gut kind of thing. So that might be where Virgo is in your chart, and how things happen in that particular house may affect how you feel, how you digest food, how you actually assimilate the nutrients from the digestion of that food. And then, of course, that also relates to the bowels and the intestines as far as whether you are able to hold balance there. And then as well into the whole idea of health, because the health of the body, as we're learning more and more, starts in the gut, right? In the gut, with probiotics and enzymes and so forth that are in a healthy balance with everything else. And not just, us stripping our guts of all the good flora that we need in order to be healthy and to have a very strong immune system. So Virgo is a really interesting sign because it covers so many different things of the more mundane sort. It's not sexy. It's not really adorable energy. It's not like, but it's work energy. It takes up a very powerful component of our everyday life. Yay. Okay, so let's see. More people checked in here. JLo, hello. Ingrid Miller, good morning. She says, wow, this matches my Virgo moon. Mine as well. Mimi's as well. Mimi says, perfect. Natal Virgo moon as I dive deeper into basket weaving. By the way, Mimi, I've been looking at those baskets. They're gorgeous. I love how you transition from one kind of textile and painting on scarves and things like that, and then into basket weaving. It's just wonderful. She says, learning details, organized, learning different patterns sometimes baffles my mind. Then blam, it all makes sense. I get those feelings sometimes too. Leslie, good morning to you. Monique Alexander, good to see you. She says, LOL, stop putting all of me out there. Virgo here. I love it. Andy girl, Virgo is my south node. I feel like I've been operating a lot in my south node lately. I need to chill out a bit more and just flow. That makes perfect sense because the south node is holding you to the past, right? And not that we want to dump our past. It's not that we don't want to use the gifts and the talents and the experiences that we've brought with us into this earthly plane, but we want to actually use them in new ways, right? So trying to move it out of that perfectionistic state of Virgo into the more creative, all out there sort of etheric qualities of Pisces, because that would be where your north node is. Hopefully that helps a little for you, Andy. Adrian Jones, good morning. And Ursula confessed double Virgo here with Pisces moon to focus on that particular axis. Absolutely, absolutely. And you're welcome, Mimi. She's so talented, guys. If you've never been to Mimi's Facebook page, you should go check it out. Not only is she brilliant when it comes to ideas and all of that, but she is a brilliant artist and has some beautiful things out there. Not that that I'm a real, knower of artistic talent, but it strikes me that they're beautiful. So I just wanted to share that. Pauline says, my Virgo is mostly second and 24, third house, maybe. So crossing over the second and the third house there, Pauline. I think that's what you mean. So affecting both your finances and your mind, right? And the way that you learn, the way that you spend money, the way that you organize yourself, all of those taken in with your Virgo. I'm not sure if you mean your Virgo sun or moon or what, but whatever you have in Virgo is where you have specific talents, perhaps in organizing or working. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so let's talk about the next astrological thing here today, and that is Venus in a square to Uranus. You know, Venus rules our values, our money, and our relationships, love, right? Romance, also a part of Venus. And we have a square to the planet Uranus, who is the awakener, the rebel, the revolutionary, the one that surprises us, creates chaos and havoc at times, as he shocks us into liberation, which is his true focus. So shocking liberation in relationships, in finances, wow, that fits the weekend I had. And we may have some clashing values up in our faces today as people have different things that they place value on. And even in our own personal lives, we may have clashing ideas and ideals about who we are, about what we want to buy, what we want to, how we want to show up in relationships, what our expectation is in relationships. So a lot of different things coming into play here that may turn you upside down on your head. Retail therapy today, not advised. Not advised, because you may be purchasing something from a knee-jerk reaction, something that you feel in your field that is, you know, something that may soothe in the moment, but may not have the kind of impact or long-lasting effect that you're hoping for. So don't go suddenly and buy that thing that you really want in the moment, because I bet you tomorrow you're like, what did I do that for? Instability is a part of the energy here too. We may feel like we don't know which foot we're standing on, or we may feel like we're standing on only one foot and we need both feet on the ground. We may be impatient in our relationships as we're trying to force something to happen or trying to avoid something from happening. Financial concerns may pop up and surprise us during this particular day. We are maybe surprised by money coming in, or maybe we're surprised that we forgot that our license tabs were due, and which I almost did. And then suddenly $70, you know, whoop, there it goes. So all of these things that are about finances, values, and our relationships might be a little unstable today. So try not to make any big moves when it comes to those particular areas of your life. We are also looking for satisfaction here in our lives, that feeling of, you know, groundedness and everything is okay and everything is in its right and perfect order, yet it may be elusive. Certainly, I woke up this morning, I looked out the window and it was dark still, and I saw the planet Venus, and I was startled because I'm like, oh my God, does that mean the smoke is cleared? Does that mean I'm going to get to see the sun today? No, no, it was just a momentary break in this the smoke and the clouds. But it was great. For that moment, I was like, ah, Venus, I could see her. She was there in my field of vision. And unfortunately, that hole closed up, and now we're back to, you know, whatever. Probably until Thursday now, they're saying. So I'm just grateful. Let me just say that, you know, as far as the fires go, it hasn't touched me personally. I feel for everyone out there who is now facing maybe flooding from Hurricane Sally, fires in California and Oregon, even still here in Washington. I think there are some. It's just amazing how the elementals are speaking to us at this moment on this planet, the elements of water, the elements of fire, and the earth also scorched here or flooded here. And I think what we're light on is air. That might be a good thing, right? Because air in this would be just maybe making fires worse. I think that's what probably started some of the fires down the road that they went. Wind and lightning strikes. Lightning, by the way, also fire, right? Fire energy. And so we carry on, right? We pray for our friends and for our families. We pray for the earth. We send out loving thoughts and healing energy, and we do all that we can do as human beings, as individuals, and maybe even have it at some point to step back and just let this grand play out, because we're not really in control here. I think if there's anything that has waken us up here, it is that we are so not in control of things that are happening on these bigger scales. Looks like I have a question from Andy Girl. Is there any energy going on that can explain her crazy exhaustion? Yes. I'm hoping maybe that you downloaded the Mars retrograde ebook for you. I put it on the Facebook page for Living Astrology, because with Mars retrograde right now, a lot of people may be playing this out in fatigue, exhaustion, in emotional feelings, emotional expression. So there's a lot going on astrologically. Planets that are in retrograde, there, even though Jupiter turned direct, we still have quite a few in retrograde, and that slows things down. So yeah, there's a lot that can explain that exhaustion, right? So take time for yourself, take time for rest, make sure you're feeding yourself, make sure that you are balancing your life as much as you can between work and rest, or work and play, or however that you want, you need to, you know, in your life in particular, balance things out. All right. Now let's look at the human design week. See, what do I want to show you first? Well, I'm going to show you, yeah, both of those are up. So I'm going to share my screen here just a moment. Okay, why don't you want to share this morning? There we go. All right, even our computers don't want to behave right. Our devices. So we are now in week 4 in September. Remember, the weeks are much shorter in human design. They're 4 or 5 days as opposed to the 7 days that we have in the Gregorian calendar, or the 13 days that we have in our Pleiadian-Earth energy calendar. So we have different size weeks in human design. This is a 5-day week, and we are in search of EQ, emotional intelligence. We all are familiar with IQ, our intelligence quotient, but what we don't always get connected to is our emotional quotient. This is going to be one of those weeks, right? When we, and I'll show you the human design chart here in just a few moments. What we see is the sun at the gate 6, which is called the gate of impact, sometimes called the gate of friction, is sometimes called the gate of conflict. These are shadow type energies. In their higher levels, they're diplomacy and peace, right? That could be the gate 6, but the gate 6 can also lead us to war and to anger and to conflict erupting out of the nowhere. This is our opportunity this week then to explore our emotional intelligence. In fact, true growth in our life, true evolution cannot happen without friction, without those conflicts popping up in our field, because it is through that resistance energy that we are able to change state. As many times I've brought to this morning show this idea from physics about how something as simple as, say, an ice cube goes through a change of state. Heat creates friction in the molecules that excites them into changing from the ice state to the frozen state to the water state. An injection of more resistance, more heat creating more resistance, creates a change of state from the liquid to the water vapor state. And all of that is just a perfect model to show you that even in our daily lives, without the energy of friction, without the energy of conflict, we go nowhere, right? We just kind of stay where we are. And this is a time for us to really understand more about how our emotions work, about how we regulate our emotions to create a more peaceful existence, even in the chaos, right? Even in the stream of arguing or conflict, how do we use our emotions wisely? How do we impact others with our emotions is another good question that will come up with the sun at gate 6, because knowing that your reactions, your response to things that are happening in your life are models to other people about how they're going to react to things. So, for example, and I'm just gonna lay this out here without the details, but my daughter and boyfriend experienced a breakup this weekend that was pretty traumatic and affecting the entire family. And they work together. My husband, my daughter, and her now ex-boyfriend, they all work together in the same place. And there is an emotional component here that could easily get out of control. And yet all of them, all of the family had pulled together and just have, even though this is emotional, we've all been crying, we've been angry, we've been upset, we've all pulled together to make sure that the emotional energy doesn't spill out and create a field of conflict that then affects all of the people that they would work with and all of the family. So it's been an interesting couple of days, really since Friday. And all of that, just a big lesson in how it is that we can work with the emotional energy. So how do we impact others with our emotions? Well, that is partly your responsibility, right? How do you respond to the emotional energy? We may feel a little bit exposed to the emotional field right now, particularly those of you who have an open emotional center in human design. You're taking in all of that emotional energy with a tendency to amplify that energy and rebroadcast it. And when that happens, then you're not even being authentic. You're just kind of sort of parroting what's happening around you. Ask yourself, whose feelings am I feeling? Right? Am I exposing myself to, am I being exposed to other people's energies? And using that instead of a sponge where you're absorbing it and soaking it all in, allow it to flow through you, informing you of what is happening, but not necessarily taking it on as your responsibility to placate or make everybody else feel better. For those of you who are emotionally defined, I am, you are already broadcasting emotion. You are already emotional, but this week may even serve to cause you to be more emotional, right? So that is happening. We're learning to keep a higher frequency. We're trying to keep our frequency clean and up high so that we can be in a position to serve humanity during turbulent times. And I use that word in particular because the earth is sitting at a gate of turbulence in the shadow. So we have the earth triggering turbulence, and we have the sun responding in conflict, or we have the sun triggering conflict, and we respond with restlessness, impatience, and turbulence. So we're working emotional energy for the next 5 days, and it can be a bit of a wild ride, right? We're not used to the idea of responding to emotional energy. We're used to reacting to it, right? Not knee-jerking, not blah, 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 not getting into knee-jerk reactions this week is going to be very helpful. And this week, trust that you will be an impact for others, no matter what is going on, right? Others are going to feel your impact. So be ready to share your gifts and your talents, but also in the right timing, because the emotional center is about timing. Remember, it flows in waves, and that energy is impactful in the moment, but it may take another moment or two or 24 hours before you get clarity about what that impact means for you and how then you can rise to the occasion and share of your gifts and your talents. We just have to have trust and faith that all is going as planned this week. The Earth, again at the gate 36, is the gate of adventure and exploration, but it is often energy that pops up because we've gotten bored or we've grown restless or impatient, and that causes us to leap into something that is possibly not in the right timing. And we can override our natural patience and our natural caution by doing things in the moment that are not necessarily positive. But this gives us the energy to meet the challenges of change and growth through crisis, right? Through the things that happen in our lives. It calls us to compassion. It calls us to humanity. Turbulence, right? The pathway from turbulence to compassion is through the gift of humanity. Now, the impact of gate 6, the sun, plus the turbulence of gate 36, the earth, can be an explosive combination of energies. Fighting and war live in these two energies. So I would expect that we're fighting fires, right? We're fighting fires. Right now, people in Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, maybe even, they're fighting to sandbag their homes. They're fighting against the floods. We have a lot of these kinds of things happening, not to mention, some of the other things that have already been in play. We're fighting a virus and all of that. So this can be an explosive combo. So the more we can add add peace and kind of compassion to the field, the lighter the conflict might be. And I got to tell you, remember yesterday we pulled a card and it said, expect miracles. Well, this is the energy of miracles as well. The gate 36, miracles happen here, especially when we disrupt our old patterns of reaction, when we stretch the edges of our story to maybe embrace something new. This used to be my life, and now my life has changed to include XYZ, right? Letting go of the older story and in favor of the more updated version, let's say, right? The updated version of miracles happened in my life, and it was a miracle. So expect miracles today. Expect miracles this week. Defy the reasonable and the expected and break through to a new level somewhere, right? Whether it's in your relationship, in your finances, in your health, in your job, in your creative energies, in personal breakthroughs. This is a week for that kind of miracle. The cards told us about that yesterday. Remember, the cards I drew yesterday were for the collective for the week. So how amazing is that, right? I didn't even notice that until this morning, and I'm like, oh, amazing, right? Amazing. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to switch over to the human design chart now and show you, make that a little bit bigger. Let me share my screen again. There we go. So now you should see the human design chart. And it doesn't look a whole lot different from last week, does it? We still have the channel 12 to 22 completing. This is the north node up here, kind of pushing us to be more open, to be more communicative, to use our voices appropriately, to be open to receiving input from source or the cosmos, whichever you want to call it, God, and then being more emotionally responsive already. Here, this is not the right chart. This is not the right chart. Hold on. Let me stop sharing. How funny is that? Let me go to my desktop and grab the right chart. Just now, 9:15. There you are. There we go. How did I open up the wrong one? That's so funny. But it shows you that it still hasn't changed a whole lot. So a couple of other changes, obviously, and that's what I didn't see, is that the sun here at gate 36, the Earth here at gate 36 and the sun over here at gate 6, impact and the energy of conflict in the lower expressions, the 36 turbulence in the lower expression, the higher expression is peace in the gate 6, and compassion in the gate 36. So our sun and earth, by the way, these gates are hanging, and at least from the standpoint of the universal energies, but for you in your own personal chart, they may complete a channel, because you may have a hanging gate 35, or you may have a hanging gate 59, and they suddenly come together and create a channel, which allows more opportunity for expression of that energy. Remember, hanging gates, they're like magnets. They pull to you the experiences from the opposite channel or the opposite gate. And so what we see then, we have a defined head, ajna, and throat center, and a defined emotional center. But there's a split in this energy because it's the throat and the emotional center connected, and the head and the ajna connected. So we have to be very careful about expressing, speaking, writing from our minds, because they're not connected to the throat center. And so we have to be very wise about our word choices. We have to be very aware of what it is that we're going to say before we say it, slowing things down a bit, because otherwise we can just, how some people don't have filters, right? They just say what they're thinking. You know, it's not that they're wrong necessarily. They're just saying what they're thinking. And this is kind of one of those setups where you're just saying what you think without waiting to make sure that it's okay to say what it is that you want to say. And even with a defined throat, we usually say wisely that you wait to be invited to speak, because then you are heard, valued, and recognized for your contribution, for your words, and not acting boorish or where people are like, talk to the hand, I don't want to hear it. So being very wise to that this week as we carry on, being careful what you say, right? Monitoring your thoughts as well, because thoughts turn into words, which then get spoken, and you can't take them back once you've spoken them. So being very wise to that as well. All right. So there's our human design chart. Let me go and see if we have questions. Asa, did we have any more? No, there. Anna Fulton, good morning. Yep. Great to see you out there. Yeah, you've got your blog talk thing. Sylvester, good morning. He says he's feeling that way too. It's going to be okay, that it's going to be okay. Take it one step at a time. I love that. And Anna says, I'm learning so much about human design type and how our energy cycles play into that. If you are a projector or reflector or manifester, get some rest. Indeed, indeed, indeed. So Anna said, I don't know if that's really Anna. Anna, would you really do that? Tell people to find you on Instagram? I don't know that that's actually you. I'm going to block that comment. I'll have to check that out later, Asa. We might want to check into that. Andy Girl says, sending you all love and big hugs. Thank you very much. Pauline says, yes, my twin flame soul broke silence after over a year and texted me. A miracle for me. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. Pauline. Taylor, good morning. She says, hey, everybody, sending love. And there we go. So Ursula, my shtick is to begin cleaning first thing in the morning. I kind of expect my Capricorn husband and daughter to help, but they look at me like I am crazy. Like I am a crazy cleaning lady. Oh my gosh. That's so funny, Ursula. But that's funny because I do it too, first things in the morning. Mimi, I bet you do this too, where, you know, I am always seemingly tidying something up, but worse than that, I will absolutely clean the kitchen from top to bottom before I start to cook anything, because I have to have all the space, right? It has to be clean. It has to be organized. And my husband is like the other guy, I forgot his name, from The Odd Couple. He just puts things down. I came into the house yesterday afternoon after helping my daughter do some things, and I could not believe it. My whole entire counter from it's an L shape, right? And from one side of the L to the corner and all the way over to the other side was just one long mess. And I went, oh my God, I can't deal with this right now. I just cannot deal with this right now. Terry, get your shit off the counters. And which he dutifully did. Because I just couldn't deal with it, right? With everything else that was happening yesterday, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't deal with it. So he took that and fixed it for me so I wouldn't have to. And then he actually made dinner so I didn't have to go in there and do that either. So it worked out nice. Okay. And let's see what else is going on here. Leilani, good to see you. Amy Energy, I think she's showing flames everywhere. It's good to see you too. And Mimi says, LOL. No, Janet, slow mornings, cats and coffee, afternoons organizing for me. Different timing, same idea though. So Leilani says, Terry, get your... It was pretty funny. And he knew the mood. He knew the mood because he'd been in it most of the day with me, right? So he had just gone home sooner than me to make sure Sadie was okay. And yeah, it was funny. It's a good thing he went home, because Sadie, feeling her jollies yesterday, jumped off of the deck. We have the deck enclosed, except there's this one gap. We actually put a fence because she's taking this medicine that makes her a little loopy. And so I didn't want her just wandering off. So we put like a little gate across the opening to the deck. And that keeps her, she has space and she can go outside, and we just leave the door open. She comes and goes. Well, yesterday she found the gap and she went wandering, and then she couldn't figure out how to get back in. So it was a good thing I sent him home early, because she was outside, vulnerable. Like, she probably could have gotten back on the deck, but she didn't. She was kind of cowered up at the back door. Right? Our animals, the things that they do. So yesterday it was good that I sent him home. And even if I had to deal with all the stuff on the counters, he fixed it for me. Okay, so lastly for today, we are going to talk about the Pleiadian-Earth energy of the day. It is heart-to-heart energy today. Today is the 8, the energy of connection, abundance, and the relating energy. So it is the one that I always get to say about the 8, where it comes across, it joins together. That's our heart connection, joining us individually, heart to heart. But also the 8 in its upright, joining us from heaven to body, right? Or from God to human, or from soul to human. However you want to look at that, it's another connection, right? That it shows that we are in connection, and that the nature of the connection brings us abundance, right? We are always abundant. And relating is about our being able to see our reflection in the other. Right? So when you don't like what you see in the person that you are around, you have to ask yourself, why is it that I'm seeing that in the mirror? Why am I not seeing beauty and love and non-judgment? Why am I seeing judgment and conflict and upset? Well, because there's something in you that is reflecting, that needs that reflection, right? What is it? Right? And then that can trigger in us a need to process through what we're seeing, right? Why am I seeing that? I've been doing this a lot, even with the outer world, wondering what it is the outer world is showing me. Why do certain things out there really trigger my anger or my upset? And why I've done that for this entire weekend, wondering why I'm so overly emotional about this breakup from my daughter and her boyfriend, and why did that super affect me? And it felt like a super event, right? I haven't cried in months, and this is the first morning that I actually woke up without crying. And so there's these super events, I think, that are happening. And the 8 energy of the day allows us to maybe look into the reflection. What have you been holding on to there that needed releasing? Or, what is it reminding you of? So we have these moments where we get to tap in and we get to look and see what is it that's in the mirror and what's it showing us. And then moving energy is the earth energy for the day. In the Mayan calendar, that was Chichen, which was the snake, the serpent energy. And serpent energy is really fascinating through the Mayan and the Pleiadian energy. Even when you think about the Chiron and the healing energy of doctors, and they always have the caduceus, which are the intertwined snakes, and this idea of healing that comes with Chichon energy or with moving energy. It gives us the ability to shed the old, to let go of the old, so that we can create new beliefs, or open to truth, and to let old habits die, and to find new ideas and new strengths and all of these different things. So the energy of the day, totally supportive of the new, of the letting go first of the old, the transforming of the old, and moving into the new, right? Because it's moving energy. And I just want to remind you that we are in the 13-day period of time that we're in right now is one self-regulating, right? So we keep having to bring it back into the self. Why is this happening to me? Might not be the best question, but what does this mean to me? What does my reaction show me about what I value or what's going on with me? So asking the questions, seeing in the mirror, daring to look in that mirror, and to really relate then to what is truth for you. All right. So that is it for me. I'm going to go back here and see if there are questions. Asa, did you just pop up with something for me? Yes. Pauline is asking if you do private sessions with couples. I do indeed. So if you want more information on that, private message me, because that's not up on my website. I do that differently than I do other things. So if you want to go to Janet at living-astrology.com, don't forget the hyphen or it will not get to me. And I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Leslie, this just happened to me and I learned I needed to communicate my boundaries more clearly. Why is that so hard to do at times? Good question. I never even thought of it in terms of boundaries, Leslie. You just gave me a aha moment. I've never liked boundaries. The worst thing that my mother could do to me when I was a kid growing up was to restrict me, to ground me, right? That was like, oh, give me a spanking. I'd rather have the punishment done and over with. Don't clip my wings. So that might be something too. Thank you for bringing that up. Sylvester says, I used my body graph. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Sylvester, but maybe say something else a little bit about it. Maybe I'll just go back here. Anna says, I'm with my kids and I'm over Share Bear. I'm just excited to be here. Nice. Pauline, Asa, so excited to have you here, Goddess Anne. Okay, anyway, great. So Sylvester, I'm not sure what you're talking about with your body graph, but if you have a question, let me know. And Leilani, ever since I watched Kung Fu Hustle, I've been trying to learn Tai Chi. Oh, that reminds me, I have to talk to Amy because she was going to come on and show us some Qigong moves to be able to move through anger, upset, maybe even some fatigue for you that have that exhaustion feeling going on. And so Sylvester, I like Janet's human design chart and report better because she gives you a personal report. Yeah, I'm all over the personal thing. I like to relate it personally, because then you can relate it personally or relate to it personally as well. Because we're all in this together, right? And I know that if I share my own processes, my own stuff, that, it's not just me telling you about these things. This is why I named my business Living Astrology, because we're living it, right? We're living it in every moment. I am not immune to that. And part of living your astrology, or your human design, as I could call it now, is about being responsible for it, right? Being able to see how it fits in the grand scheme of things, how it fits your life purpose and where you're headed in your life. How do all these little puzzle parts come together to form the picture of who you are and who you're here to be, and how it is that you can be very responsible in cleaning up your own backyard, as it were, cleaning off your own counters, so that you have space to really ask the question, what do I want to create now? Who do I want to be now? That's what this is all about on a daily basis, right? We get to go through this, through all of these planets aren't doing this to us, right? That's what I was trying to communicate one day. I think it was last week, that these are symbols of the potential for energies, not actual, they're archetypal. How can I don't know how to describe this any better. They're not the thing that's causing something to happen in our lives, but symbolically they hold the key or the clue to decode what is happening in our lives. There we go. That makes it better. So they give us the model by which we can sort of look at what's happening. And in the code is also the solution, right? The antidote to whatever it is that's upset us. We just have to go deeper and look at it, but it's really hard sometimes when you're in the emotional haze. Today I can look back over the last 4 days and go, I get it. In fact, the one thing that came to me this morning as I woke up, thank you, Venus, for showing me, is that, remember Friday, we entered into the collective shadow period in the Pleiadian calendar, which here's still the 2020. I haven't gotten my new 2021 yet. Remember, on Thursday, we have Pia Orlean and Colin Baird Smith coming on air with us in the morning to talk more about this. And I really do want to ask them questions about this collective shadow cycle, because, you know, something very powerful moved through on Friday and will continue until the end of this month and the 30th. So we have maybe more change, more impact coming. We just have to be ready to go with that flow and do what's necessary to get us on the right track. So we have that going as well. That can also, I think, play into the fatigue some people are feeling. Mars is in retrograde, moving back over the same territory he's been in, and that will last until November 14th. Mars is an action planet, so our action is slowed down maybe, so that we'll take a look at, in a deeper way, at what's been going on in our lives. And for some people, it's been a forced course correction. And what does that mean, right? How does that play out? And where am I going now? And who am I supposed to be now? And there may be more coming, right? There may be more coming. We just, at this point in this year, I'm just like, well, what can we do? We just are sort of here. We're not victims of this energy, by the way. So that's not what I'm thinking. It's just that it's not in my control anymore. But what is in my control is how I respond. So that's where we end, right? We end on, it's always our responsibility, responding to what shows up in our world instead of reacting. But unfortunately, sometimes we react. We're human. We're learning. So I can be a little philosophical about it, because, you know, we're not going to have this 100% down. Otherwise, you know, we wouldn't be here in this moment, right? All right. Amy Energy, LOL, cleaning my counter right now. Kimberly says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you so much, Kimberly. The thumbs up, please hit that. Also subscribe. I am so close to 500 subscribers. I can taste it. In fact, I haven't checked. Maybe I'm there now. I have no clue. Because it doesn't show me where I am, but Asa will tell me later how many subscribers I have. I need 500 more, of course, but that's the halfway point. Woohoo! And I love that. Thank you for saying that, Kimberly, and Asa, of course. Also, JLo always says that. You guys are great. I love it. I love you all so much. And JLo says, one half here will rewatch replay because she's enjoying the beach waves today. Will you enjoy the waves? Be on the beach. It's beautiful, I'm sure. You're probably getting some waves flowing up maybe from hurricanes. Mimi says, snark alert. Was hindsight is 2020 a warning? Yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Ingrid, 497 right now. 497. I don't know what that means. 497. What is that? Ingrid, tell me what that means. But it's interesting to me too, because I think I was telling you guys last week, every day it seemed like I was getting angel messages through numbers. It started out with the 444s, and then it went into 555 on Friday. On Friday, just a few hours before calamity. And I thought, wow, what does that mean? I mean, 555 is major life changes, right? When I see 555, I'm like, oh my, hold on tight, right? Get the seatbelt ready. You know, that might be, you know, something that's happening. And then, was it Saturday or Sunday? I started getting 111, 11. And to me, that's like, okay, a new beginning. What's beginning? And out of the ashes, right, comes something new. And 497 subscribers. I get it. Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you, Andy girl. Woohoo! So 3 more to 500. So somehow we'll have to find a way to celebrate when I get 3 more. I'm not sure what we'll do, but it will be a good thing to have 500 and know that I'm halfway to my 1,000 goal. And yesterday, Taylor had the 222s. Nice. Amy, I've been seeing 1111 and 111. New beginnings, gateways, portals to something new, right? That's what those ones mean. Twos, Taylor, are about don't quit before you see the results of whatever it is that you've planted, right? We kind of plant seeds in the 111s, and then in two, we start to see it pop up from under the soil, right? Using the plant metaphor. So the little seedlings begin to grow. And we have an opportunity then to see that things are moving forward. So don't give up. It says usually don't give up before you actually get to reap the benefits of whatever it is that you've planted. And there we go. So Yahoo, all that is awesome stuff. All right. Asa, was that you commenting on something? Question, nope, that was Debbie. Debbie Tibbetts Tumiel, by the way, you all, lives near Panama City in Florida. So it says, she says, it's raining torrents here. Backyard is flooding near the fence. Glad I put 2 truckloads of dirt out there this past year. Remember, where she lives was devastated by Hurricane David, I think it was, 2 years ago in October. It'd be 2 years ago in October, and she had a lot of devastation then, and now it's Hurricane Sally taking a battering. Leilani says, I keep seeing 212, 313, 616. In those when I see those kind of numbers, I usually add them up and see what that means. So the 212 is a 5, 313 is a 7, 1213 is a 4. Well, I'm not sure what that means for you, but you can always ask, right? Ask your inner guidance for clarity on what that means. So I guess that is it for me today. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which means we'll be looking at the next house in our lessons on the astrology houses. We'll be looking at the 4th house tomorrow and what that means and what your charts look like. We'll take maybe a couple of people's charts and look at that. And then don't forget Thursday. Make sure if all the days this week that you want to be here live, Thursday would be that day at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. on the East Coast to see Pia and Cullen and talk to them about the Pleiadian-Earth calendar and her books and all of that good stuff. All right, guys, that is it for me. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Be safe wherever you are. I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.